know if you guys have ever seen something in the clouds. You saw this picture in the clouds, and you're trying to share with your friends how the picture looks. It could be an elephant, it could be a kiwi, whatever it is. And the more you try and describe it and point to it, the more you see it, but your friend just can't see it. Has that ever happened to you? Has it? Yeah, at times. That's what we are as a church, because there's a lot of us in this room who we see this picture, we see this face, we see who God is, and honestly, we can't unsee it. He's done something in our lives that we can't undo, and it's that grace, and that's who we are as a community. And we try and point to, we try and show, we try and say, hey, check it out in the clouds. There it is. There is God. And you may not get it. You may not see it. And that's okay. We're actually so glad that you can be with us here today and that we can sing these songs. And maybe you don't sing these songs, but hey, we want you to actually see what we see. Maybe it's not going to happen today. Maybe it's going to take a whole journey, a whole lifetime to actually maybe just see the God that we see. But we just want you to know that you're welcome here. And today as we start, just bow your heads with me, please. And God, today we're here because we want to see you, because we know that you're a God of grace. You're a God who's for us, not against us. If we struggle to see you, God, today we pray in some way, can you just reveal yourself to us? Can you just show us your love that you have for us, that, you know, as others may be singing this song and just passionately, yeah, we're on fire for this love, and it's our response to worship you. But if we don't get it, God, maybe in some way today, just give us a bit more of a glimpse. That's our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, guys. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been speaking about this topic of shifting gears. And I'm honestly so excited to hear that some people have actually shifted gears. And they've actually come and shared this with us, that in their journey of faith, they've decided, hey, you know what? I don't just want to coast along in second gear anymore, but I want to go into the next gear. And I want to grow in my faith journey. And some have actually come and shared, and they said, hey, for me, that is, I want to actually go public with my faith. And I actually want to be baptized this year. So we're on the journey and chatting to people about baptism. Others have said, man, I want to get out of my comfort zone, because honestly, I'm just so comfortable. I want to get outside of my comfort zone where it's sort of a bit more scary, where I'm a bit more fearful, because I feel God can do something there. And that's some of the conversations that I've had over these past weeks. And I don't know what gear you have shifted. Maybe you haven't shifted a gear yet. Maybe this is your first time here today. But I hope after the message today, just maybe you can discover and maybe think about shifting gears in your journey of faith. So we spoke a bit more, last week. Can anyone remember what we spoke about? Connect, thank you. So glad there was one. Okay. All right, so we'll go on then, because there was one who remembered, all right? We spoke about Connect and how we as a church are not a building, but we're people who actually, our passion is this green man to actually, move across the room and go and connect with people, to go and discover people's stories, to actually greet someone you haven't greeted, to get outside of your comfort zone. And we do that because that's what Jesus has done for us. We believe he stepped outside of his comfort zone for us. And so I loved seeing last week after church, because there was a tangible difference where I saw that at lunchtime, people were mixing with people that they usually don't mix with. And I love that about our church, because that's what I want our church to be, that you get uncomfortable when you come here on a Saturday, all right, if you're a member sort of thing. But that you move out of your comfort zone and greet someone, speak to someone, care about someone who you don't know. So I loved seeing that actually take place, and also in all our different environments. But this week we're going to speak about this thought of we serve. So as a church, we serve. Well, what does it mean we serve. So we're going to dive into this topic of serving. All right. And today I'm going to share, the way I'm going to share this with you is we're going to look at a story about the disciples. And if you're new to church or you don't know much about the disciples were these 12 guys that Jesus actually said, hey, I want you guys to follow me because I need you guys to actually make a difference in this world. And they weren't the most skilled guys. They didn't have everything clean cut about them. They made heaps of mistakes. But they decided, hey, we're going to shift gears. We're going to follow Jesus. And they actually left everything they had to follow Jesus' call. And on the journey, as they followed Jesus, they grew in their faith journey. They made heaps of mistakes, as we'll see. And today, we're going to look at a bit of a story about what was happening to them as they continued to follow Jesus back in the day. So if we can get it on the screen, it's found in the book of Mark. All right, so here's the story. It goes, they were on their way up to Jerusalem with Jesus leading the way, and the disciples were astonished while those who followed were afraid. Yeah, we see actually just before this, someone has just come up to Jesus and he said to Jesus, hey, what must I do to inherit eternal life? Like, what do I actually have to do to live forever? And Jesus said to this guy, he said, well, what does the law say? And he said, well, I need to keep all these things. And the guy said, well, I keep all of them. And then Jesus says to him, okay, well, what I want you to do is I want you to sell everything you have and follow me. And I don't know if you're willing to sell everything you have and follow Jesus, but I don't know, that's quite a big deal, right? And this guy looked down and he said, well, I can't do that. And he left. And all the disciples who are following Jesus start thinking in their mind, and there's this conversation that goes on between Jesus and them where they're actually so astonished because these guys, the disciples, had actually left everything and they were following Jesus. So does that mean that they gain eternal life, right? Does that make sense where their mind was? So they're astonished. There's some others who are pretty afraid at what Jesus is teaching. And Jesus does this. It says, again, he took the 12 aside and told them what was going to happen to him. All right, so he takes the 12 and it shows us again. So Jesus has obviously done this before, and pretty much he gets his guys together and he says, hey guys, I just want you to know what the game plan is. All right, if we're thinking it's in the context of sport, like it's the coach getting the guys together and saying, hey, this is the strategy to defeat the All Blacks today, okay? All right? Pretty much. Goes on, and he says, hey, we are going up to Jerusalem. He said, and the Son of Man will be what? Betrayed to the chief priests and teachers of the law. Okay, Jesus is sharing, hey, we're on a journey. We're going to move to Jerusalem. We're going to go there. And then they're going to be the chief priests, all right, who are actually going to betray the Son of Man, who is Jesus. They're going to betray me. And the teachers of the law, the guys who are actually all about God, are going to actually turn themselves on Jesus, all right? And he says, they will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles. Man, imagine if you're a coach and this is the game plan. Wouldn't you be a bit anxious sharing this with your team? Okay, guys, this is what's going to happen, all right? Or the captain, let's make it the captain. That's pretty scary. Like, everyone's going to take me out. I just want you guys to know, all right? Everyone's going to take me out. They're going to condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles. The Gentiles were all the people who weren't following Jesus and pretty much were unbelievers. They didn't have faith in God. And then he shares this. He says, who will mock him and spit on him, flog him, and kill him. 3 days later, he will rise. Man, I mean, if I'm with the team and sort of this is the game plan, surely the disciples were thinking, man, this is scary stuff, right? Wow. I don't know if I really want to be part of this team if this is what's going to happen to you. even to the point where they're going to kill him. Kill him. And then it says 3 days later, he will rise. I don't know about you, but I think, and I know this because in the next passage that we're going to go on, but I think the disciples here weren't really listening, all right? Maybe some of you are sitting here this morning and you're not really listening. Your mind's just somewhere else, right? Does that happen to you? It happens to me often, all right? Often Zalia is actually sharing something with me, and then later I'll say, hey, what did you say? And she said, I just told you we're going to go and do, and I was like, has that happened to you? Come on, we can be honest. Yes, it does. I think this is what was obviously happening to the disciples here, because he shares this, and this is pretty crazy stuff, all right? And I think they just don't get it. They just miss it, and especially this part where 3 days later he will rise. Or maybe they were actually just listening, and actually they were so blinded by, like, that's impossible. That's impossible. We've been following Jesus now for a while, and we've seen the crazy stuff that Jesus has done. This is actually impossible. No one can take you out, Jesus, because we've seen what you can do. Maybe that's what was on their mind. It goes on. So then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him, but maybe they were actually thinking, oh, I know, maybe they were getting a strategy together how they could help Jesus, right? Maybe. Let's see what happens. So Jesus then says, what do you want me to do for you? All right, maybe this is cool. They're going to try and help out and sort of stand against all the chief priests and the guys who are actually going to seize Jesus. And this is their response. Let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory. Isn't that crazy? Don't they miss the whole picture of what Jesus was just sharing with them? Here, Jesus has just said, hey, I'm going to be taken out, all right? Their first response, all right, is, hey, please do for us whatever we ask you to do, all right? And then they say, hey, when you're on your glory, when you're on your throne, when you king, pretty much, of Jerusalem and the whole nation of Israel, please just remember us. Please, can one of us sit on your left-hand side and the other on your right-hand side? This blows my mind because these were the guys who were following Jesus. These were the guys who obviously Jesus, again, it says, is trying to share what the mission and the vision is of who they were, of who he was. And they get it wrong because they think, hey, we actually just want to sit on your right and your left and actually, say, hey, we're with the king. Yeah, we've been following him. They want to pretty much be great. That's what they're asking. How many of us want to be great? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever written down on a piece of paper, hey, I want to be great? May have. I actually believe that all of us, at some point in our lives, want to actually be great. I mean, be it in a sports team, be it a great father, be it a great mother, just live a great life. I think all of us at some point actually want to be great. And I think often what happens is we do exactly what the disciples did, and we get it wrong. We completely miss what the big picture is of life. So it goes on then, and he says, Jesus responds, he says, you don't know what you are asking. Come on, guys. He said, can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? In other words, Jesus is saying, can you even carry the weight of what this means? All right? Can you actually take in on the inside the emotional turmoil and tension that you're going to have to wrestle with, that Jesus is going to have to wrestle with? Pretty much, can you suffer the way that I'm going to suffer? That's what Jesus was saying. And he says then, and be baptized. Can you be baptized like the baptism I'm going to have? In other words, this outward sort of cleansing and immersion of, hey, just being cleansed from the outside. Can you do that? Their response is this. Straight away, we can. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can, sure. If we can be at the right and the left-hand side of your kingdom, yes, we can do it. And Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. And then it goes on. But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. Pretty much Jesus says, yeah, hey, you guys are right. You are going to pretty much suffer the way that I'm going to suffer. And yeah, you will be baptized the way I'm going to be baptized. And if you don't know, the end of the story of these guys is that most of them, except for one of the 12, actually died a martyr's death. And they suffered all for the cause of Jesus. All for this movement. All for to make a difference in the world. They actually said, hey, well, we're not going to give up on it. We're actually going to hold on to it. And they all died a martyr's death. It goes on then, and he says, when the other 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. They were furious, all right? They were angry. They were upset to hear that James and John were saying, hey, we want to be at the left and right-hand side. Why do you think this was the case? Why do you think that could have been the case? It may have been, I'm not sure, but it may have been that they wanted to be on the left and right side of Jesus, right? They might have just been upset that, hey, they were asking this question and they weren't actually bold enough to actually ask Jesus that question themselves. But they become angry at James and John. And then Jesus called them together and he says, hey guys, just come together. Let me again, just please listen, just pay attention now. He says, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. All right? The guys who are sort of rulers and in charge, they lord it over them. And their high officials exercise authority over them. In other words, they get put on this pedestal high up and they sort of, take advantage of their authority. And yeah, Jesus then says this. He says, not so with you though. He says, instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. Now you might not understand the immense impact that this would have on the disciples. All right? The weight of what Jesus was actually saying here, because what he's saying is, hey, whoever wants to become great, the way you become great is actually you must be a servant. And in their context, a servant was someone who wasn't great. A servant was someone right at the bottom of pretty much the pecking order. Like, no, God. You don't understand. We're your disciples. We're your followers. We're the guys who are inside, all right? We're in your good books. And he says, yeah, hey, in order to become great, you must be a servant. You must be a servant. And whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. Must be slave of all. He says then, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. He says, hey guys, look at me. Just look here. He says, the reason I came is not to be served, but to serve. The whole strategy, the whole game plan is that actually I come to actually serve and to actually empty myself so that others may be filled up. That's the game plan. That's church. I want you to understand that is what the kingdom is all about. I don't know what the disciples thought after that. I don't know their conversations after that. But imagine, just imagine with me for a second. Imagine we can continuously be a church and a people who carries this vision and this strategy. Imagine the impact that we could have if we chose that, hey, what we want to do is we want to become great, because being great in this context can make a huge difference. It can make a huge difference. I wrote this down. If we flick to the next one. The church at its utmost best, all right, is the servant church. The church, in other words, the people, all right, not a building, Gracegate, the people, at our utmost best are when we are people who are serving, when we are serving each other, when we have the same mindset as Jesus. And the reason we're at our utmost best is because this is when we don't make a point, no, we make a difference as a community. This is when we can actually see things happen in this world. This is when we actually see that things are changing, because we're actually lowering ourselves and we're saying, hey, we're here to serve. That is the essence of the church. That is what made the church last so many thousands of years, was them denying themselves and saying, hey, we're here to serve. We're here to give up. We're following Jesus' way of living. And that's what they did. I want to share just 5 gears with you, what I think this serving is all about. And the first one is this, that it starts from the inside. I think serving, and often we can serve, but we're not serving. We can serve for many hours, but we're not serving. And I can give you an example, like maybe when your mom says to you, hey, can you do the dishes, right? And you're like, really? Or when you're just busy doing something that you're enjoying and someone asks you to do something and you do it, but your whole attitude is like, man, you just wish you weren't doing it. That's not serving. That's not the essence of serving. You see, the essence of serving is that it starts from the inside. Something happens on the inside, and as something is changing on the inside, your whole attitude is, why not? I'll do anything to serve. So serving actually starts from the inside. It's when we understand what Jesus has done for us, because the Son of Man came to save and to serve, that we actually have something shift in us from the inside out. It starts from the inside. And then number 2, it's doing the small things. It's doing the small things. I don't know how we miss this. But as a church, we can often miss this the most. The church, the worldwide church, has probably missed this the most. That actually serving is actually just doing the small things. Maybe that's the place where it starts. It's doing the small things. Well, what does the small things look like? Well, maybe it looks a bit like this. Maybe it looks like once we've had a coffee in the morning here at Gracegate, we actually just take our cup and we throw it in the bin. Have you ever thought of that? That is serving. In other words, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do this small thing. Maybe it is, hey, when I rock up here on a Saturday, I'm just going to see how I can help. I just want to see how I can help. Maybe I'll pack up a chair or a table after lunch. Maybe it looks like that. It's actually the small things. Maybe it's just a text message. As simple as a text message. It's the small things. That's what serving is about. And then it's not on our terms. Man, I wish I should have written that even in bold, because serving, right? If you have to define serving, it can't be on our terms. It can't be on my terms, because then guess what? It's not serving. It's something else. Serving can never happen on our terms. All right? I wish it could. Because, I'd love to serve on my terms and my schedule and the things that I like to do. I mean, but then in the essence, it's not serving. You see, serving, is actually not on our terms, or otherwise we can't define it as serving. That is what serving is. Number 4 is that it costs us something. It costs us something. What Jesus was telling his disciples, is that, hey, I want you to understand that what I'm going to do for you, the reason I'm going to give myself away, all right, and actually go and be crucified is actually going to cost me something. Jesus actually still, when he's praying about it, he says, hey, God, this is not what I want to do. I honestly don't want to do this. But hey, let it be your will and not my will. It costs him something. Serving actually, it may cost us our time. It may cost us our comfort zone. It may cost us our attitude, our ego. Because no one actually likes to do those things because that's what a servant would do. But that's what serving is. Does that make sense? And then the last one is that it needs to be celebrated. It needs to be celebrated. If you are serving from the right space that Jesus was actually asking us to serve from, all right? If you are serving from the right space that Jesus is asking his disciples to serve at, you don't even know that you're serving. All right? You're not really even aware that you're actually serving because something is happening from the inside out, and it's just, this is just what I do, because it changes us. It transforms us. And it needs to be celebrated, because if you don't know that you're serving, but everyone else does, we need to actually catch people serving in our community and celebrate them and say thank you. Thank you, man, for just sacrificing. Thank you for just giving up some of your time. Hey, thank you for serving and not doing things on your terms. Hey, thank you that you're just doing the small things that, a lot of other people just walk past and don't do. And you know why this matters? Because this makes a difference. This is the gospel, where people who are followers of Jesus decide, hey, I'm going to deny myself. I'm going to take up the cross, and I'm going to follow Jesus. And through serving, we make a difference. Through serving, I see that actually it's infectious, because as one person is serving and they see the difference that someone else is receiving, they start to see, hey, this isn't that hard. Like, I want to be a part of this. I want to get involved. We as a church, as a community, at our utmost best, will be when we are serving each other. Imagine this. Imagine this in the context of relationships. Think about this in the context of relationships. When we actually say, hey, you know what? I know my wife, she wants me to do all of these things. But where we actually say, you know what? Actually, not on my terms, but on my wife's terms. Yes, I'll do that for you. Yeah. Wouldn't that change the shape of your relationship? Or if the husband actually said, you know what? Or the wife said, actually, hey, not on my terms, but on my husband's terms. Imagine our friendships. Imagine a parent and a child relationship. If we thought, hey, actually, the whole point of this is for me to serve you. And then the other person says, no, wait, I want to serve you. And there's actually a fight because we're just trying to serve each other better. That's what the gospel is. That's what Jesus is challenging us to be. He's challenging his disciples to be. I love this. This is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he was someone, obviously, who had a huge vision to see people be served. And he decided, you know what? It's going to cost him something. And he's going to sacrifice, but he cannot not go and serve. And this is one of his sermons that he shared. I think it's almost one of his last sermons that he actually shared before he was assassinated. And this is what he says. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he says this. And so Jesus, he gave us a new norm, all right, of greatness. If you want to be important, wonderful. Because really, it's in us. We want to be important. We want to win soccer games. We don't want to go on the field and lose. Like, we want to be great. He says, hey, if you want to be recognized, wonderful. That's awesome. He says, if you want to be great, wonderful. These are not bad things, all right? But then he continues and he says this, but recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. The person who's going to be the greatest is going to be the person who serves you. Is going to be the person who sacrifices. He says that's a new definition of greatness. Come on. That is what greatness is. It's serving. This blows my mind. He goes on. He says, and this morning, the thing that I like about it, by giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. That's what I love most about this, that each and every one of us can serve. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. Doesn't matter what age you are, you can serve. You can serve. It doesn't matter what gender you are, you can serve. And serving makes a difference. He goes on and he shares this. He says, you don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. Thank goodness. Isn't this good news? And then he goes on and he says, you don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of what? Grace. Wow. A soul generated by love, and you can be that servant. You see, honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a believer or you're not a believer. You can serve. Jesus, his whole thing is about serving. And that's seriously, it flipped the whole world upside down. That a king would come and serve. Why? And yeah, Dr. Martin Luther King says that anybody can serve. Each and every one of us can serve. You only need a heart full of grace. Only need a heart full of grace. And I guess maybe that's why, often some of us, the reason we don't serve is because we've never experienced that heart full of grace. We've never actually seen God in a way that is accurate to who Jesus really is, that he's a God who's actually wanting to just serve you. I picture it like this. I picture it in the way that I go to a hotel, the flashiest hotel out. Do you get a 6-star hotel? Do you? I don't know. Okay, 5-star. Let's make it 5-star. Imagine going to a 5-star hotel, right? You're at this hotel and you live it up. Honestly, it's one of the best hotels out. It's like got the best views. It's got the best shower, the best bathroom. The whole fridge is stacked with your favorite things in it. That's the kind of like picture I see of service. And what Jesus does is he actually says, hey, Wes, here's this whole room. Take it, it's yours. And enjoy it. So like you get on there, you jump on the bed, you mess it up. You go to the bathroom and you use all those cool little toiletry things that they got. You even chuck a few in your bag. You use every single towel, chuck it on the floor. You don't even have to clean the room afterwards. And then when you leave that hotel and you go to the front reception and you're like, okay, let me pay the bill. Jesus is like, I got that, man. I got that. I've paid it for you. Because that's who he is. He's a God who's for us. He's a God who's actually paid the price for us, who says that He's a God who has come to serve us. Hey, if you haven't understood or received that grace that God wants to actually give to you in your life, I want to invite you to actually just ask Him to, hey, reveal that to you. Show you in the way that only you can understand how His grace covers. It changes things. It shifts things. And then most importantly, it does something inside of us that allows us to say, hey, now where can I help? God, you've done so much for me now. Now what can I do? Where can I help? Where can I serve? I hope that we can continue to be a church that serves with these types of gears. It says, hey man, this is going to cost me. This is going to cost me, but I'm going to serve. And you know what? I'm going to celebrate people who are serving. I'm going to cheer them on every step of the way because I see that this will make the difference in our community. If this is you and, there's a place that, hey, you think maybe, you know what, I've been coasting along quite comfortably, but actually there may be an area that I want to serve. I want to invite you to come and talk to us. Come and have a chat with us afterwards. There's so many places at Gracegate that you could be a part and you could serve, but also outside of Gracegate. Maybe you should ask this question at home. Hey, where can I serve at home? Where can I actually serve at home? Maybe you've just been coasting along at home, expecting to receive all the service. Maybe this is the gear that you got to shift and say, hey, where can I serve? Maybe it's at work. Maybe it's like, hey, you've just been doing half a pie job. Now you actually think, hey, you know what? I need to step it up. This is what Jesus wants us to be. Jesus followers who go out and say, hey, we serve. Now, I love that we're a church who is all about this. And we're a church that is like, hey, the best place you can serve is in your environment, in your area of influence, right? The people that you surround yourself with. However, we're also a church that has been over the past couple of years, a church that says, hey, we're not only going to serve in our local community, but we're also going to go and make a difference in other places. And today I'm going to invite Zalia and some of the other guys, and they're going to share about an exciting place that we're going to embark on and go and serve at.
Hello. Awesome. Well, here we have representatives of our 3 mission trips, our service trips that we've done so far at Gracegate. So do you guys want to turn around so they can see which trip you're a part of? Here we go. So we are a church, like Wes has been speaking about, who serves. You can turn around and take a seat now. Show your better sides. And so in case you're new here or you haven't heard about it, these service opportunities are available to continue taking that next step and be our green man and move across the room. So I'm just going to ask these lovely people a bit about themselves, the trips they went on, and how perhaps you could be a part of it. So here we have Megan, and she came on our very first Gracegate service trip. And so Megan, do you want to tell us where we went and what we did?
Okay. Yep. Is that on? Okay, cool. Like Zal said, I went on the first ever Gracegate mission trip, and we went to South Africa, and we were in the KwaZulu-Natal region, and we got to stay at a school, and we travelled with Abundant Life, and we built a gymnasium there, and we did lots of painting and stuff. It was heaps of construction, but we also did a lot of stuff with the community as well, especially with the kids at the school. We'd play lots of games with them, and then we had a few community days where we gave out food and clothes, and we took Polaroid pictures of the kids and gave them to keep. And yeah, we did a lot.
That's awesome. And Megan, you're pretty young. You were even younger back then. So what is it that made you want to go on a service trip? What is it that you enjoyed about it?
So I was 14 when I went. So wait, was I 14? Yeah, I was 14. So I definitely was a lot younger. I think the reason that I wanted to go was because it was the first time I kind of ever had like the opportunity to go and do something like that. And what I really got out of it was I think for me, I was kind of seeing God a lot just in church, but being able to go over there kind of opened me up to seeing God in different places, like in the kids and in, like, we went on a safari and we got to see the sunset. It was pretty cool. And yeah, just in the people in our team, and that was kind of a eye-opening thing for me. So I'm very glad that I went.
Awesome. I was definitely glad to have you there. So do you just want to tell everyone why you would recommend to go and like how it personally challenged you?
Yeah, so I think that going with a Gracegate like mission trip, we are definitely one big family, and I think like my team personally, we were the most random collection of people. Like if you see photos of our team, it was so weird. But by the end of it, we were just really, really close and able to talk to each other about anything. And I think like if you go, Gracegate's going to look after you. They're not going to leave you in the lurch. Like there will definitely be challenging times, but we're like a family of people that you like, I don't know, that make a real effort at connecting and making sure that you're comfortable being where you are and being who you are.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. And here we have Lindsay, which just so happens to be Megan's lovely dad. So Lindsay, do you want to tell us which trip you went on and the kind of things you did?
Sure. So in 2016, we went on the Fiji trip, the first Fiji trip, and we went to Namara village in Fiji, and it was just after Cyclone Winston that was pretty destructive and ravaging to that whole community over there. So what we did is we started to rebuild a primary school that had been knocked down by that cyclone. When we got there, they were having school in tents. They were mostly living in tents. And we were able to kickstart a little bit of that process and get them back into a building.
And do you want to share how it personally challenged you along the trip and what you grew out of it?
Yeah, I've never laid concrete blocks before. It was quite challenging, and it was a completely different environment. Obviously, it was a village with no power or running water or any of those sorts of things. So it's a different environment. It definitely challenges you, but you learn a lot about yourself and those around you in that environment too.
And how would you recommend other people to go, and what sort of what do you need to have to be able to go on one of these trips?
Look, I absolutely recommend anyone to go. You don't really need anything other than, like Wes was talking about, that attitude to want to serve. And, you know, the difference we're able to make in that community, the people we were able to interact with over there that we learnt from, that showed us so much about life, with nothing in comparison to what we had. The bonds that you make with the team that you go with, look, it's so invaluable. And sure, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but it is so much a win-win in terms of what you're able to give to them and what you receive from it. It's well worth it.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we have Kamia. Do you want to tell us what trip you went on, and the same thing, what you were doing, what the project was like, or your daily work?
So actually I've gone on all 3 of the trips, so that's pretty cool. But I'll be speaking about our last one that we did, which was going to Fiji again in 2017. So we went back to the same village that we visited in 2016, and we went basically to go and finish off the classrooms that we started. So while we were away, they put up the roofs, but we went back and did all the painting and tiling and windows, and basically opened the building while we were there for the kids. So that was really cool.
And what was the daily life that you enjoyed the most?
I think I quite enjoyed just having the morning worship with the kids every morning, because we kind of were in teams in our team every day of the trip that we were there. We had opportunities to kind of serve and to lead out and worship at the school every morning, so that was really awesome. And just the kind of the spirit that was going around between the group and with us and the people over there. Like, we're all connected so well, and we would, just have little chats along the way in the day, and just really get to know each other and have a few laughs here and there. So it's just that really family spirit that was really cool about it that I really enjoyed.
Awesome. And can you tell us, how did you experience God the most on any of the trips?
I think I went with this mindset of I'm going to go and serve, like that's why I'm going. But in the end, I actually received way more from God than what I could pour into any of those people's lives. Like it was just an eye opener for me to see that, you know, doesn't matter if you have a little or a lot. You can be joyful and you can be happy in the circumstances that you're in if that joy comes from God. So it was just for me to experience that fullness of, even if you have like minimal stuff to live with, you can find that joy in everything you do every day. So like God really got a hold of me in that. Like you don't need a lot to have a relationship with Him and to have that joy.
Awesome, thank you. So on these service trips, we just take a bunch of people from Gracegate or our community, old and young, and whatever skill and talent you have. And we go over there, usually about 14 of us, and we just go there to be used in whatever way God opens up before us. So, yeah, like they've said, it's with the kids, it's building. We do a lot of fundraising beforehand so we can continue to equip and resource, and all of our projects are sustainable, that other groups are taking over or continuing while we're away. So at the end of this year, we actually have an awesome opportunity to take a new bunch of people, and it could be any of you sitting here. And so the reason it's called Move to Cambodia is all about our strategy, as you've heard over and over again, of this green man and how God's called us to move across the room and connect with people, not just people who are like us and who we like and it's easy to, but with everyone. So whether that be in your office, in your own family, in your sports team, your community, or across the other side of the world. So there's actually already a project going on there, and it's a Kindercare project that we're going to go and join, and we're just going to be the hands and feet doing the hard labour, and they're going to continue the project there even after we've gone. So Lindsay is going to share with us a bit about the project that's currently going on there, what's already happened, and how we can get involved in that.
Thanks, Els. Yes, so Kindercare as an organisation, it's about 7 years ago now that we were looking for a community project that we could get involved in. And at Kindercare, our mission statement, we talk about developing each child's full potential through outstanding early childhood care and education. But that wasn't just limited to New Zealand, and we were looking for a project where we could achieve those aims outside of New Zealand. We teamed with ADRA New Zealand on their Connections program and took a first trip across to Cambodia, to Prasat village there, and built a preschool for children there. It was alongside a primary school, and then since then we've been doing continual trips back. We've got a team over there at the moment, it's team number 16, and over that time we've been focusing primarily on teaching teachers. For those of you that know a little about what went on in Cambodia, the educational system there at the moment is really missing a whole generation of experienced teachers. And so we've been teaching, preschool teachers, primary school teachers about the value of play and children's learning, and we go twice a year to run workshops. We've also added playgrounds to the preschool. In conjunction with another charity, Room to Read, we redid the primary school next door, and just recently a team have come back with some of the same guys you saw on the video there, who built playgrounds at another 2 schools that are close by to Prasad. So Karen, who a lot of you know, she's so wonderful, huge driving force behind that, and she's over there at the moment with the team as well.
Awesome. And so you've already sort of set up a model, an example in one village, and what's the need where Gracegate will be getting involved?
Yeah, so where Gracegate comes in is we were looking to, now that we've achieved so much at Prasad for that community, it's how can we take that expertise and what we've learned and spread that a bit further. We've been able to connect with the Ministry of Education over there and ask them what they would like to see in terms of how we contribute. That's how we got to build another couple of playgrounds at nearby schools. They also asked us to look at another school that's within 15 minutes of Prasad, the video that you saw, and that is called, I've forgotten, Kai Pong Ching or something. We'll get that name right. And so we were looking to do that anyway, and that requires us essentially kicking back to the start, the building of a preschool, and then the continuing of that process of educating those teachers. The teachers in that environment have been part of our workshops. It's been one of the great things that the workshops that are run weren't just for our school, but the whole region the teachers have come to be a part of that. So, you know, it's just spreading that influence a bit further.
Yeah. And what's the benefit for the village of having a kindy? Is it for the child or for the community or for jobs?
Oh, look, I think it's a bit of everything, but primarily around children, the benefit of that education. The place that we're going to, there is a school there. It's incredibly run down. Its rolls have been dropping. It's flooded for large parts of the year. The facilities just aren't up to scratch. At the moment, there's just not facilities for a kindergarten to meet and for a school to then grow from there. So, yeah, getting a building in place is the first building block in terms of influencing education in that whole community going forward. That's such a crucial first step.
So if people are thinking they would love to come on a trip like that, what sort of skills do they need?
Look, a willing attitude, obviously. Look, there's a bit of building involved. There's a lot of building involved. So there'll be some labour, but it's not impossible to do. And there will be people who know what they're doing over there. So just really, look, that attitude to serve, to work, and also I think to be open and part of the community that they're going to go into.
Yeah, awesome. And the coolest thing is we get to go and continue what Kindy is already doing and continue the impact on the kids' lives and the community's lives. But we also get to go and show a glimpse of our God and show His love on each person in that community and each child. And even if you're not so keen on going for the labour aspect and being the painter and the builder and the one hanging with the kids, we need a whole church behind this to make this possible. And we need help fundraising, and we need help with preparing us to go there, the tools we'll take and the resources for the classrooms and the playground. And we want to take this on, and we want to challenge you guys as a whole church that this be something we get behind this year, that we decide to move across the room to Cambodia, and that as a church family we continue to serve here and to be able to serve over there, so it makes an impact in the village, and we can continue to help Kindy as well. So Lindsay, thanks for joining us. Let's give him a hand. So the exciting thing is today, if you go onto our Gracegate website, which is gracegate.org.nz, you have a look at our events and how you can serve. You can see on there all the info you need to know. So we're actually going to be going in the end of November for 2 weeks. And you can see what you need to be able to do. There's an application form. There's even questions like, do I need a plug for a different country? Where are we going to be staying? What's the food like? Every question that you might have is on there. So you can go, you can read about it, you can download the form, fill it out and send it back to us. We're going to be picking a team, but we're also going to be starting to think about it as a whole community, and just any way that you can get involved is going to be awesome. And I just want to challenge you, challenge all of us today that we really take on board the serving thing that Wes has shared with us, that we actually take our examples from Christ, and like he said, he hasn't come to be served, and we aren't to be served either. We're here to be his hands and feet in our community, in our families, in our workplace, wherever he's placed us, your sphere of influence, where he's planted you. He's put you there for a reason. So I would just love it if we were just known in this community for the people who care for others and who have a heart to serve, just because, no strings attached. So